Tanks are built to be virtually indestructible, with frontal armor capable of ricocheting even the toughest of ammunition, great mobility for driving off-road and just tearing down a forest if you really wanted to, and a gun capable of cutting through just about anything in front of you. Well, they sound epic, don't they? That's what I thought about tanks when I first started playing Grand Theft Auto Online. Unfortunately, that's just not the case in this game, and in today's video, I'll be going over why this tank in front of us, the Khanjali, the best that you'll get when it comes to armored tank warfare, is worse than a simple car. Let's get straight into it. Before we break into today's video, I wanted to point out that this is just one man's opinion. If you find it fun to drive the tank and mess around with the vehicle, then I have no problems with that. But there's a lot of people out there that believe the tank is a good fighting vehicle and something that is not only effective for missions, but effective for a lot of things, which it really just isn't. Let's start off with the tank, talk about its strengths, its weaknesses, and what it has going for it. Well, first of all, obviously it's slow. That is a massive disadvantage for this vehicle. It's got good acceleration, but I mean, this is it. You're going like, I think it's 40-ish miles per hour at a top speed. So even some of the slowest cars in the game, like the Roosevelt Valor, are easily going to smoke the tank on any terms of maneuverability or mobility. So that's the first pretty lame thing about this vehicle. But what it does feature is a very deadly gun. It's actually the same explosive capabilities as an RPG, which is about double the explosive damage as a homing launcher round. So it is quite nice on its overall explosive capabilities. You can also shoot the cannon really fast, and the longer you charge it, the further the round will go. So that is one really nice thing about the tank, is it's very good at dealing with targets on the ground. But because it's slow, it's pretty hard to catch them, which is obviously a pretty big downside. With the amount of armored vehicles nowadays in Grand Theft Auto Online, it's very easy to tank at least 1 or 2 rounds from this vehicle, and then just drive away, come back with an oppressor, and completely demolish it. And that's the problem with the tank. This is as much gun elevation as it gets. That is not a lot. Anybody that is smart will see the first round in the sky, and then they'll be like, okay, that's as high as it can aim. I'm going to fly a little bit above it, and long live the tank. So, yeah, pretty disappointing. I'm not going to lie. Another thing that's pretty disappointing about this vehicle is the amount of explosives that it can take before blowing up. For example, it survives 8 explosions. That's it. So if I were to pull out a homing launcher or something that shoots explosives, let's just do the grenade launcher. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this one should blow it up. There you go. 8 explosions, and that's it. I mean, really? It can tank 8 explosions before blowing up? You might comment that vehicles you step inside will live longer, but I tested it while driving it. It's still only 8 explosions. This is a frickin' tank we're talking about. An Insurgent Pickup Custom can survive 27 missiles. 27! And a tank can survive 8. Like, really? That is 3 times less the explosives. I don't even understand that. I seriously do not understand that. But let's start off simple. Let's compare the Toreador to the tank. What advantages and disadvantages do you have? Well, first of all, the biggest disadvantage I can name is the fact that this vehicle is covered in glass. And what that means is if somebody does aim correctly at your head, well, they're going to completely discombobulate you because, yeah, it doesn't have much bullet protection. However, an advantage is that it's fast, like really fast. This thing has a super speed boost, and essentially if somebody's able to hit you while you're using your rocket boost, I would be very, very impressed. So I wouldn't really say that gunfire is a big problem for the Toreador to deal with. Okay, well, what else do we have? The amount of seats, well, this vehicle can seat 4 people, and I'm pretty sure the tank can seat upwards of 4, so that's also checked for both of these boxes. But it just gets better for the Toreador. First of all, it features homing missiles, and an unlimited amount of homing missiles. It's actually insane. You just keep shooting and shooting and shooting all day long. But the crazy part is that this vehicle can survive the same amount of explosions as the tank. Yes, you heard that right. The Toreador can survive the same amount of explosions as a tank. It's faster than a tank, and it features unlimited homing missiles. And these aren't your grandma's homing missiles, these are Mark II missiles, which means that essentially if you get any slight lock on whatever you're aiming at, you're going to instantly hit them and knock them out of the sky, something that you couldn't ever dream of using the tank. And it's also really easy to hit air targets because you just launch the vehicle in the air, use the rocket boost, and then you can just shoot missiles all day at them. So, to be honest, I already think the Toreador alone defeats the purpose of the tank in just about every single category. I mean, sure, it doesn't have a turret, so you can't swivel on a dime and shoot somebody, but it doesn't really matter. You got a speed boost which lets you get away from anything, and you can survive a massive chunk of explosions and deal a lot more hurt back. So, yeah, it's just a win. It's just an absolute win when it comes to the Toreador, but it keeps on getting worse for the tank. How about we start off with something simple, like the Hauler Custom. This is a semi-truck. You can buy it quite cheap, around $1 million on Warstock Cash and Carry. It's part of your MOC. Now, this truck may look quite simple, but in reality, this is one of the deadliest vehicles available in the game. First of all, we arrive at bullet protectiveness. It's actually pretty decent. We can see that this glass is somewhat bullet resistant. You can shoot at it, and you will not cut through the glass until you have around 27-ish rifle rounds. So that's pretty nice. It means that if anybody is trying to shoot at your Phantom, they're actually not going to be able to cut through it. They're going to take quite a bit of shots. So that's the first really nice thing about this vehicle, but it keeps getting better. Sure, you're not able to use explosives out of this vehicle, but that is because of the sheer insane amount of explosions it can survive. The tank, how many did we say? 8 explosions? Yeah. Well, the Hauler Custom can survive 70 homing missiles. You heard that right. 70. 7-0. That is an insane amount of missiles. It can survive like 30 tank rounds or something ridiculous. Essentially, the Hauler Custom is the definition of a tank. It is almost unstoppable in a normal GTA Online session. And it's about a third of the price of this tank. You don't need to do a heist to unlock it. So once again, the Hauler Custom is basically getting another fat dub over something like the tank. It's sure, it doesn't have nearly as good weaponry, but if you're going for survivability, this is going to be your go-to. Okay, so we've gone for survivability. How about we do a mix of both? Not only survivability, but as well explosions. Well, we have the Grotti Italy GTO Stinger TT. Now, this isn't the only Amani Tech car. There's, what, 15, 20 Amani Tech cars in the game now? And they're all very good at different things. First of all Amani Tech vehicles have mines. Now, they're not the same explosive mines that the tank drops, but they are slick mines, which means if anybody's chasing you, it's going to be very hard to actually catch you. You can just keep spamming these, and not only will you disrupt traffic around you, making it very hard for people to keep up, but at the same time, if you hit any car chasing you, they're just going to crash into a wall. So that's, first of all, a really nice thing about all Amani Tech vehicles, but it gets even better. This is an incredibly fast vehicle, achieving a top speed upwards of 130 miles per hour. On HSW upgrades, you can go up to 150 plus miles per hour, absolutely smoking even vehicles like the Toreador in speeds. But it gets even crazier. This car can also survive 12 homing missiles, and you can't even home on it because of the missile lock-on jammer when it comes to Amani Tech vehicles. So again, if you're going for survivability, this is the kind of thing I'd pick up. It's faster than a tank, it survives more missiles than a tank, you can't even lock on it to begin with. Again, just why? Why would I ever choose a tank? Also, I can just throw sticky bombs out of it, which is really, really easy to use. So then we arrive at the final vehicle to put the nail in the coffin for the tank, and that is the Deluxo. You could also count the Oppressor Mark II or normal Oppressor on this list. I just think the Deluxo is the most fun out of the bunch. The Deluxo, at first glance, is a normal car. Can drive upwards of 127 miles per hour, which is actually pretty impressive when it comes to vehicles in the game. But not only that, it can fly, and it has missiles. Now, the Deluxo does not have any survivability. It will get nuked by explosive snipers or the railgun, but what it won't get nuked by is a tank, because you can just sit above it, and then you can just, I don't know, launch a missile at the tank. That's really all you need to do. You've got homing missiles, and you got about 30 of them, and you can just keep shooting homing missile over and over and over again until the tank is dead. If I saw somebody trying to blow me up or cause trouble while I was, you know, chilling in my Deluxo, I mean, I just literally pull out a Deluxo in about half a second and completely blow them up. That's without even mentioning you can also just get your hands on a Sparrow in about half a second, going to services, Kosatka, calling out your Sparrow, and this works just as well as the Deluxo. It even features flares, so if anything's trying to blow you up in the sky, you can very easily just launch flares and deal with them. At the end of the day, I personally don't really think the tank has any merits of a strong vehicle in the game. Personally, I would love to see Rockstar buff the tank. I would like to see them buff its explosive resistance. I would like to see them possibly give it missiles that you could launch or flares, something like that that would stop it from being easy to shoot out of the sky. If they gave it flares or maybe a missile lock-on jammer, it would be great. But unfortunately, it doesn't have that right now. So personally, the tank gets like a 2 out of 10 when it comes to armored vehicles in GTA. Let me know what you guys think about this video in the comments down below and if you agree or disagree. But I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.